Hey, this is Chris Keys at LA Amp Show in 2009. I'm hanging out in Van Nuys, California. I got Phil from Matchless. He's going to talk to me about the Avalon 30. How are you doing today, Phil?
Really good. Thanks for coming.
How's your ears after the end of the day so far?
Oh, I'm fried.
I hear you. So tell me a little bit more about the Avalon 30 here.
The Avalon is our newest amp. It's a hybrid construction. It's the first time we've really done an amp in this sort of style. We tried a PC board many years ago. The amps didn't quite sound as good as what these do here. So what I'm using is I incorporated a point-to-point wiring technique, point-to-point component. I'm using a turret style, and I'm also using some minor PCB tracing for the power section and various voltage supplies and grounding. So I just incorporated a lot of different techniques to make it a little bit more cost-effective in the construction. So it takes less time to actually make one of these than it does some of our other amps.
Alrighty, and what do you got for tubes running in this one?
The tubes, the preamp, are two 12AX7s. There's a 12AX7 in the phase inverter, two 12AX7s in the reverb. The power tubes, this particular model is a 30 watt, so it's got four EL84s with a high-low power switch, and the tube for this particular model is one 5AR4 rectifier.
How'd you go about choosing those combinations there?
They're just some of our favorite tubes, our favorite sounding tubes. They sit really well in the mix, and they really tend to cut through. So we like those, and we also offer it with an EF86 circuit with EL34s, and then various rectifier styles you can use with it as well.
Very cool. And what kind of speakers you got running in the cab?
The stock speaker for these are the Celestion G12H30s. And we also offer a 212 extension cabinet, which is a lower profile that fits about the same dimension as this does here. That's got one G12H30 and one 25 watt greenback. But all of our speakers are our modified speakers.
Very cool. And what's I got to notice very quickly aesthetically compared to the other amps is that you guys are showing off the tubes in this one. What kind of was the thought process there?
The thought process really was I wanted to sort of reinvent ourselves and offer something that looked completely new and different and as original as one can make a tube amp. It's a lot of people will sort of gravitate towards some of the big three amp companies and try to make their look similar or whatever. I wanted to go with something as different as I could come up with and offer the plexiglass style, which looks fantastic on camera. It looks awesome on stages, and it's got a little bit of the wow factor that people really seem to like. It's been openly received.
Definitely does. And we're talking here with this techie specky stuff. Let's get to what the people want. Let's hear this bad boy. Let's have Matt walk us through some tones. Definitely got that blues shuffle sound. What do you?
Yeah, it's really versatile amp. It really covers a wide range of different territories, from country, jazz, blues, rock, heavy metal. It's got a real classic sound. It's got a great foundation, and that's the whole secret to the amp, is having a good foundation. So whatever guitar you plug into that amp, it's going to sound like that guitar. One of our first dealers that we sold the amp to, he thought it was a heavy metal amp because he plugged a Les Paul into it. So I told him, well, plug a Strat into it. And he's like, man, it sounds just like Stevie Ray Vaughan. So, really anything you do in that, you can really tailor and alter the tones. We can go with a completely different sound right now.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's go change it up here. What do we got going on here now?
Okay, now we're going to make it a little bit more cleaner, a little less raspy sounding. So I'm going to increase the cut control. I'm going to pull out the master volume, kind of tame it down a little bit. We're going to go up on the reverb, which not everybody does, and we're going to kind of dial back the preamp section a little bit. The bass control is also part of the mid-range. This amp does have added mid-range control that the other amps don't really have. So,
Matt,
Matt?
see what you got. distinct and different sound, but yet again, still very good and clean.
Yeah, yeah, and then we can crank it up. If Matt will go to the back pickup, I'll increase the bass in the mid-range, and you'll see, you know, kind of a rock style with a Strat. Okay.
We got a humbucker guitar here. Tell me a little bit about this special Gibson.
This particular Gibson, it's one of my favorite guitars. It's a 60 neck, 59 body with the Tom Jones, TV Jones Powertrons in there. And I love this guitar because of the thin neck, you know.
Very cool. So let's hear what this Frankenstein has to offer. Now I know what that shop owner was talking about when he said it was a heavy metal amp.
Yes, exactly. You can very well be deceived by that. So the beautiful thing about the Avalon, it's very touch responsive. The harder you play it, the more you dig in, the more distorted it's going to be. The lighter you play with your fingers, it's going to be clean, chimey, very responsive. Whatever guitar you plug into that amp, it's going to sound like that guitar, and that's like the greatest thing when you know you're playing in a band who's got a lot of different songs, a lot of different formats, and you need very distinct sounds. You know, you want your guitar to sound like that guitar. That's why you spend all that money for it. So,
what about price and availability on this amp?
We've already sold 70 of these models in 6 months, which I think is some kind of record for us. So they've been out. We're selling them all over the world. They've been really well received in the UK and Japan, all over the US. It's been great. The pricing on these, because we were able to kind of cut down a lot of the labor cost from our line that people are more familiar with, these amps are roughly about $900 to $1,000 less than our traditional handmade point-to-point stuff.
If someone wants to find out about Matchless and all the amps that you provide, where should they go?
Please go to matchlessamplifiers.com. We've got a great interactive website where you can choose your amp colors, you can hear some sound clips, and look at all the different models. Feel free to call me at any time. I'm always available to take your calls and answer your questions.
There you have it. I'm Chris Keys, and I'm hanging at the LA Amp Show. You're watching PremierGuitar.com.